On this episode of China Uncensored, guess what mainland China is doing in Hong Kong now? Hi, welcome to China Uncensored. I'm your host, Chris Chappell. Things really aren't going so well in Hong Kong. Hong Kong enjoys freedoms that are unimaginable in mainland China, or at least they did. Now, well, okay. So in January, Kevin Lau, the chief editor of Hong Kong newspaper Ming Pao, was suddenly dismissed. That sparked widespread concerns that the paper was self-censoring because of pressure over their hard-hitting reporting. On February 23rd, those fears culminated in a 6,500-person strong rally led by journalists protesting increasing levels of media censorship. Okay, so the fact that they can still have such a large protest without the PLA being sent in to crush them, that still clearly shows the difference between Hong Kong and the mainland. I mean, yeah, they are working on building that PLA port in central Hong Kong, but still, these journalists don't need to live in fear, right?
No one thought they'd ever see this. A veteran journalist wheeled into hospital after a brutal knife attack. Kevin Lau, former chief editor of the Ming Pao newspaper, suffered deep cuts to his torso and legs.
So a few days after the protests, Kevin Lau was savagely stabbed by two hitmen on a motorcycle. According to his wife, one of the knife wounds punctured his lung. The good news is, after days in critical condition, Lau is now recovering. Now, no one is sure who was behind the attack, so we can't jump to conclusions. Sure we can. This actually reminds me a lot of Li Jianxi. He was a former truck driver in Guangdong province who decided to write some online exposés linking local communist officials and businessmen to organized crime. Then, one day, three men jumped him, threw sulfuric acid on him, slashed his wrists with a knife, and stabbed him in the right eye, in front of his 6-year-old son. Clearly, we're dealing with people who aren't afraid of a little of the old ultra-violence. Hong Kong is becoming a place where it's too dangerous to practice the rights that are guaranteed in Hong Kong. And in some cases, it seems like Chinese authorities might be behind that danger. Those guys in green are the Hong Kong Youth Care Association. Pretty innocuous name, eh? I mean, they care for the youth. Actually, according to Hong Kong's Next magazine, they share staff and office space with the 610 office in Shenzhen. That's just across from Hong Kong in the mainland. In case you don't know, the 610 office is a Gestapo-like force created by the Chinese Communist Party to eradicate Falun Gong. So, is the Hong Kong Youth Care Association funded or directed by the CCP 610 office? Well, they do seem to be trying to assault Falun Gong practitioners in Hong Kong. That's them there on the other side of the Hong Kong police, whereas on the other side of the Hong Kong border, it'd be the Chinese police beating Falun Gong. So, what's the deal with the Youth Care Ass? What? That's just my abbreviation of choice for association. Well, I went to Hong Kong and asked some of the Falun Gong practitioners there. Falun Gong practitioners tend to wear yellow. That's how you can recognize them. Now, I don't speak Cantonese, but they gave me some flyers. Let's see. Wait a minute. This is all about how Falun Gong is an evil cult. That doesn't make any sense. Wait a minute. That's a message from my global China Uncensored news team that's a real thing. Let me pull up the image. Wait a minute. Those people look familiar. Did the Youth Care Ass just swap their green vests for yellow ones to impersonate Falun Gong practitioners? What a brilliant plan! Surely they'll never get caught. It really must be hard for the CCP to know that despite their best efforts to wipe out Falun Gong, all you have to do is go over to Hong Kong to see it being practiced openly. And what with all those pesky freedoms Hong Kong has, it's hard to just go and say, randomly stab someone. Oh, Kevin Lau. Okay, anyways, it's easy to set up a phony organization and harass them, either by covering up their banners and shouting at them, interfering with demonstrations, or by rubbing a foot in their face. Now, let me just say I admire that Falun Gong practitioner's level of spiritual enlightenment, that she can achieve a state of tranquility and compassion to the extent that she can tolerate that. I don't know about you, but if it were me, that person might have ended up with a broken foot. Just last year, there were 2 separate incidents where a youth care ass was sentenced by a Hong Kong court for beating a Falun Gong practitioner. Damn you Hong Kong courts, why won't you just listen to your mainland overlords? And when someone actually tries to help Falun Gong practitioners, well, it doesn't turn out too well for them. Check out what happened to a Hong Kong teacher here. Things are already turning violent for Hong Kong citizens. So if anything starts to go down, I'd recommend throwing on a green vest. Thanks for watching this episode of China Uncensored. If you want to learn more, check out the China Uncensored Facebook page. And as always, leave your comments below. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.